be the direction that the country takes in terms of how it's going to spend its money? What are the points whereby expenditure should be applied? The people, I keep saying that the end users of the product possibly are the ones to give direction to this. It cannot be political sycophants who say SHA is working or it's not working. It has to be the person who is walking through the hospital and is being told a thing or two who should tell you if it's working. And if you say that we're doing better for the country with the budget, if you want to say, well, we're going to put money here, we're going to tax here, the folks are saying, well, how about we manufacture things here so that the end product is cheaper for us who are using it to build the economy? What direction should the country take in terms of how it budgets its money?
Thank you. Thank you. One thing, is that budgeting doesn't mean that we have the money. It is like a visualization of what we want to have at the end of the day. Budgeting, actually, we normally look at it and say, yeah, this is what we've budgeted. But actually, we don't even have a coin of that on the table. It's like we are starting. I want to take back based on even on the comments that have come up from the Baraza, and starting with the first comment that the taxman look at somebody and they beat them to the pulp thinking this is the person who should giving us the money. But no, it means that based on the Constitution, Chapter 12 of the Constitution, which directs on how the public budgeting process should go by, and the supporting Public Finance Management Act, which was supposed to be supporting the implementation of the Chapter 12 of the Constitution. If you look at that, what I feel has happened, I think there's a lot that is hiding right there. Because if you look at just the government just the other day started on the zero-based budgeting, meaning that there has not been a lot of innovation on that area. People still over-rely on the templates and things that were being done earlier in the late 90s and early 2000s. So only right now, like in a year or so, the government is now becoming a little bit innovative. But what caused the innovation is the disruptions that came during the 2024 budgeting cycle. So even before we do that, it means that the government has to be pushed through the public participation, which the Baraza this morning is saying is not there, or the conditions are not conducive because people cannot public participate at 1 a.m. They need to be their home.
Yeah.
So, and even as this bill comes to the parliament, there's a lot that also need to be done, And right now, people want more of things done different, because there's no way you can come to the innovative kind of, whether the TikTok they're mentioning about, you want to tax that, yet you want to still remain traditional in how you do the budgeting process. It cannot work. It will not work. The government needs innovative ideas to expand and to work within the legal framework of the Constitution. And you've heard they're saying Constitution is not working. It's not that it's not working. It's because the innovative way to ensure that people can easily understand and that Public Finance Management Act can be really understood. Chapter 12 of the Constitution can be laid bare and people can be able to derive and connect that with the Constitution.
So Ruth, the traditional way in which this has been done, obviously, may not be working for Kenya today.
It is not.
So you're saying government has to be, you have to, in some cases, maybe in the spur of the moment, there are decisions that you can make, taking into consideration the changing times. It doesn't have to be the traditional ways in which things have been done before, especially considering how the world has changed.
That's it. And even in the tabling of the bill yesterday in Parliament, and even the House has been doing this so traditionally. Like, you cannot take the Kenyans of the past to be the Kenyans now. We are grappling with a very informed Gen Z and even millennials. So what kind of generation are we dealing with? And we have said previously and said again and again, this country has resources more than enough for its people. That is number one. The innovation idea coming from the Baraza this morning, we are saying, can we be able to even break down the income, because there's so much income? Because yesterday what we heard is that the minister will ensure that they ensure that KRA can come and now be able to be strict more. Can it also be strict in those areas of income that have never been touched? Because it's not only individuals and businesses and the formal sector and the informal sector. What government kind of, and what do they also bring on the table? Minister should have come and said, I'm bringing out of the other ministry, I'm bringing this on the table. And these are things that now we should start pointing out. For example, we say out of the investment that has been talked about in Baraza in Turkana, what came out of it, what is the loss, return on investment. Is like now that project, no one talks about it, whether that oil will ever come out, will ever be used, so that we are not seen like we are after our own Kenyan people. The government cannot be seen like it's chasing its people.
Yes.
Like it's according to that proverb that you mentioned this morning. Even as a dog are barking, there's a reason they are barking. There's a reason for even the camel walking. It's walking because it has no otherwise. But I think there has to be a disruption. We have to come out of the status quo and if it's accountability according to the Public Finance Management Act, we really become that. What is also the role of the county in ensuring, is the county is also paying its tax to ensure that we are also getting there? Or is this another kind of a country or a small country or something of the sort? And reconciliation, I think we have to reconcile between what is done in those big offices, reconcile that with the feel on the public, reconcile based on our politics of the day. No one, we are all looking for accountability and having a better country. And what we are saying, me, you, and the Baraza, what people are saying is this country has enough resources to do itself. The innovation now should trickle down to sectors. For example, manufacturing. Why are we not manufacturing things? Is there subsidy? Is there encouragement to ensure that sectors are working? There is none. Actually, even the fintech that we have right now is because people are innovative, are very innovative on their own, and also we have a citizen that is very active. But the government also feels that like they are a bit far, but they'll come only when is a taxing. Can we also see the support system that comes with all that?
You see, Ruth, one thing that has stood out is when you talk about even the taxes that has been introduced on mitumba, for a very long time, it has been a conversation. I remember former Prime Minister, the late Raila Odinga, at some point said, we need to ban mitumba and invest in our local productivity. But here we're looking at a creative way that the government is saying we will introduce 5% tax on that, right? But we're not seeing further conversation on, we are introducing 5% and perhaps that money we will take and invest into our local textile industry so that as we slowly or progressively block our importation of used clothing, we are investing into our local manufacturing. Because there's a time in this country, the Kikomis of Kenya, in Kisumu, growing cotton, Rivertex of these, we had another one in Eldoret as well. There was, I think, Kenit in Eldoret at the time. And these were manufacturing that was happening in this country. It's only that over time they were closed down due to mismanagement and all that. But we can't do it in this country. So even as we are taxing mitumbas, we are not seeing that money going into investment that would make Kenyans be able to buy, like he's saying, hataki kuvaa mitumba, he wants to buy new clothes. I want to do that as well. But in the absence of that and government investing in this, Kenyans are asking, okay, fine, you're making it expensive for us to buy mitumba because that's what is in the market. Even if we buy new clothes that have been imported from China, we are making China rich. We are not making Kenyans rich. Our manufacturing is still dying,
And just to add on that very quickly, can I shock you that you've talked about the cotton industry and the Rivertex and all this, manufacturing that used to happen then, especially when it comes to garment. Do you know it's eco-friendly? Cotton, getting a pure kind of cotton fabric is eco-friendly. Actually, it's supposed the sustainability conversation that we are having. But we cannot continue having the sustainability kind of conversation when we are killing things that should be supporting that. Can you see the irony of it? So we are, of course, the conversation on Tumba has been there. It's already a sector that is established on itself, but we cannot see the government giving a way forward. Of course, there is restriction, but what is the way forward? What are Kenyans going to be? And maybe that conversation is what is lacking in our country, in our leadership. Actually, in our leadership, in our direction, in our economic ecosystem. I normally say Kenyans are very easy to govern. They are the easiest people because they are very progressive. They're also very resilient. They'll go down and come up, even when the economy is very bad. But we have a problem on directional leadership. Why do I say that? Even as I quickly close this remark, because if you can look at the manifesto that everyone comes with, believe you me, we can go to the manifesto of the current government, which they forgot somewhere on the way. Let me tell you, if we try to go a bit down to the county government, it's even worse. When we go to the MP, so the leadership, it's normally seen like whatever people are saying is also not what is doing. But no one is fighting another. What I can try, can we be able to balance our speak and what needs to be done? Also, budgeting process should not be seen as a small aspect of a few people sitting in treasury and other places to bring those things to and affect the whole country. No. It is high time the Public Finance Management Act be operationalized to ensure that common Kenyans are actually, their comments are actually, as far as August, considered and put on the table and actually implemented. If we do that, then we will have a better country. Let the pain point not be a few people from the boardroom. Let that conversation be a bit broader now.
I think we come back to the plenary.
Yes, let's do that.
So let's continue with that. Your feeling on the finance bill, as well as we know that Kenya as a country, we pay taxes. How is it utilized? Speak about corruption and wastage. You can stand because of Konyuma. You can stand, introduce yourself, and then go.
I am very tall.
No, the mic, the camera will not see you because it's lower than you. Just stand.
Wow.
Show us your suit, yeah.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's raise the mic. All right.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Bradford Ogendo. Bradford Ogendo is a concerned citizen, a concerned Kenyan, and also in the advocacy. This started during protest 2024-2025. And I came up with an idea of advocating for these people, their rights, their medical, and so on. And I was handling the Kenyatta protest victims, that is. So when we talk about SHA, I have a feeling about SHA. When you talk about the frustration that people are undergoing, the common wananchi, I have that. When we talk about this finance and so on. So to start, I think Kenya as a country is one of the richest in the Africa. We cannot run away from this. Just the other day, a few days ago, we had a conference at Agile. The conference was about the mining, all right? Yeah. CS Joe was there, President was there, the Ruto, and the minister from all these other people from the rich countries for the mining, or they were there. Why were they coming? It is because they know that we have a lot of mines around here. So, just to say what my brother said, Mulamba, about the mining itself, I can tell you that we are one of the richest country. Why do I say so? Because we have our minerals here with us. But we have this analogy that was sold to us before. In Swahili, tuzingatie za binguni tuachane na za dunia. Right? And you see, we bought that and we got into that. And now we are praising, we are glorifying and so on, and we are living our own things that are supposed to be helping us here. We are very rich when we make use of these things. We don't even need to borrow. We don't even need to borrow all this, whatever we are borrowing. We don't even need to overburden people. Why are we burdening these people? It is because there are people seated somewhere who have programmed us that we must be getting this from these people. I want to give an analogy whereby a man is courting a lady, all right? You become an income, a man. Then the lady become an expenditure. She doesn't care whether the income has or not. And that is what the government is doing to us, right? A man, the income goes to Mjengo and you struggle and struggle, you come, you dirty, and the expenditure is waiting. She wants, right? It is nails, it is hair, it is the beauty, it is all those, the dress and so on.
And you just still keep giving. Okay.
You must keep giving. And that is what the government is doing unto us. The question we want to ask this government, it is not that we cannot pay, we do not want this, but at least can you give us a blueprint? Because this is what, for example, we had a finance bill 2024, we had 2025, we have 2025, 2026. Can we just have to, can we have people who are marking what did we allocate for education? 7 or 2, right? $1 billion. What did we do with this, right? When it comes to health, allocation of that fund, that was the year, this is the year that all of us, majority of us have cried. The hospitals are going down, right? You go and look at how people are struggling in the hospitals. The allocation of funds that were there, did we use them? This is why we want to mark all these things, that please, if you're coming back to us to steal from us again, you are forcing us to give you what, like the income and the expenditure analogy, because we have nothing. We are being choked. There is nothing that is left for common mwananchi. There is nothing completely, but the government is still coming and telling us, no, you are still breathing.
You're breathing, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you still, as long as you're breathing, we must even tax that breath.
Let me ask you quickly before we go to the next person here, because we know what the problem is. That we can see them. I think the problem, like you say, is choking people every day. But if we look at now how the country's going to spend its money, what would your suggestion be? Where do we put it? I mean, here we are, James said earlier, first of all, we need to know how much we have in the first place. Kenya doesn't actually know how much money it does have, you know, or if it does, it's not being transparent about putting all of it on the table. So if you were to say today that, you know what, forget about all of these things, focus on the basics, would you say let's have a basic budget, for example? What would your suggestion be?
Thank you. One thing that I want to say that I would also advise, please, can we have a list what we have done, what we are capable of doing, and what do we have? We cannot just be told that we should be working and doing this and all other things when we do not know where we are headed to. Can we have what we have done before and where we are exactly? So when we have that, we will be more than willing to proceed and give what they want.
Well said.
All right.
First of all, thank you for actually inviting me to this show. My name's Moses Mukabani. I'm a rider. I ride in Westlands, and I'm also the sub-county chairman for Boda Boda Safety Association of Kenya in Westlands, and even also the spokesperson for Boda Boda in Nairobi, BK, under Kevin Mbadi. First of all, on the issue of the finance bill, my observation are Kenyans are not against paying tax, because for any developed nation, they must pay tax. But now the biggest issue comes on the issue of mismanagement and also wastage and corruption. Actually, we look at the issue of devolution. That is actually spending almost money and doing nothing. Because if we were serious about devolution, it could have been better we have only 8 counties, so that we minimize on the wage that the government spends on paying the entire 47 counties. We have 47 ministers in every ministry and another minister at the higher level, doing the same thing repeatedly, spending a lot and not prioritizing the key things that Kenyan wants. I would like to differ with my other speakers, because I'm a supporter of the government of the day, and I support what the president is doing. Yes, I'm a two-term, the way he wants it to be. And we as the Boda Boda organization, we work with the government of the day. But actually, my advice to the president is to emphasize the key issues of agriculture. He has studied it, he has demonstrated it by lowering the prices of the seeds, the fertilizers, and that one is not enough. Because you realize there's a lot of idle lands just in our neighborhood, like here in Kiambu. 40% of the land in Kiambu is idle. It belongs to the rich people, and it is not under any cultivation. Even if we can go for the borrowing, we borrow and invest highly in agriculture productivity. This one will provide food, and it will also provide employment. It will make us stable, and it will reduce us even importing these main things like eggs, milk, and other things. We left the agriculture, we left the productivity, and this is what is making us lead to where we are. So when we borrow, or even when we pay tax, and this tax is utilized well in the key issues, actually I think Kenyans will not complain about why they are being taxed high. Number 2 is that things like the Kazi Mtaani, and these other small initiatives, look at them. Are they key really in beneficiary to Kenyans?
Are they?
No.
They're not benefiting Kenyans.
They're providing slightly employment, yes, but that does not give a permanent solution. If we can use that money and invest in industrialization, so that even if we construct 2 industries, we shall employ like 200 Kenyans permanently, than walking on the roads, slashing leaves. When it rains after 2 days, the leaves are back.
So does something like the Nyota Fund work, in your opinion? Where 22,000 or so is given to Kenyans to start a business or whatever the case may be. Does that work? If you say Kazi Amtani, because what was Kazi Amtani was more or less giving folks 6,000 shillings, around that amount, for the work that they did.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then it became controversial because who were the people who were handling the funds or whatever. But that's about the kind of money that you were giving, and that was what it was for: slashing grass, picking up garbage on the streets and doing things like that. Clogging drainage, precisely. So if you're saying something like that doesn't work because it's temporary, what you look for is something more permanent, so that you don't have to look for whereby money from taxes. So then does something like the Nyota Fund, does that work? Nyota, does it work? Because remember, this is borrowed money, which will be returned. More or less the same thing that you said.
It works, yes, slightly.
So Nyota Fund works, but Kazi Amtani doesn't.
Nyota Mtani works slightly, Kazi Mtani works slightly, but it doesn't give the permanent solution. Yeah,
even Nyota, okay.
Yes,
okay.
Because already we have the county government employed people who are supposed to do what the people in Kazi Mtani are doing. So we are paying 2 people doing the same thing.
Right.
But if we can use the same amount of money, either construct a factory somewhere or invest in an agriculture in a land somewhere, at least it will help. And also, if you borrow money and invest it well, the money that is borrowed is supposed to bring back and even some interests. So I would also like just to advise the government so that it can go for these idle lands. Maybe something should be passed in the parliament that land should not stay idle. If the owner is not in a position of maybe using it, it can be leased to the government so that the people that are in a position of using it can utilize it well. Thank you.
I think the lady in the house.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Big Praise. I am a gospel artist, and I'm championing for the domestic workers, and I'm also a peace ambassador fighting against tribalism. So today I'll be talking about more on the house helps and domestic stuff. So I think I'll just use Kiswahili because I'm comfortable in Kiswahili. So I wanted to say this. Let me just pass this message to Mr. Twoli and the Minister of Labor. So, kazi za nyumba, let me just touch this. Mbona kazi za nyumba zimekuwa kama, like, ukifanya kazi ya nyumba unaonekana kama you are so primitive, you are not educated, you don't know this and that. I don't know why is this happening. Like, kama ukifanya kazi kama kwa kampuni fulani, when you are injured, tuseme umekata kidole ama umeumia, utalipwa, utaenda OC, utapewa off ya kufanya hizo zote. But when it comes to a house help or a domestic worker or a house boy, shamba boy, like watu wanafinyiliwa. Sijui what, I don't know why are they doing this to us. Watu wanafinyiliwa, hata ukipata huyo mtu amekufa katika boma ya mtu, unasaidiwa tu, your people wanaitwa tu pale, mnasaidiwa venye mtabeba mwili, mnapeleka, mnazikwa, and that is all about that, your life. So I'm just here and I'm just asking, why? What is the government doing about these people? Because as a house help, unapata umepigwa, you are raped, you are denied your salary. Yani kuna vitu vingine unaonekana kama wewe you are like ujui what is happening. Hata kama kuna off ama this person wakes up at 4 a.m. Maybe he sleeps or she sleeps at maybe 10 or 11 or 12. But huyu mtu yani maisha yake iko duni, hana hata health insurance. Akikuwa mgonjwa anaambiwa either Me, I want just to thank my boss, because my boss is my boss ananipea, like I'm here, I'm a house help, I'm here na sai na share na these people this debate. My boss amenipea time nikuje. So what am I saying? I'm saying this: house helps, I'm the bosses. I know your house help makes sure your house is clean, your children are clean, and everything is done in the house. But when it comes to her environment or her situation or a working condition, unamfinyilia, unasema huyu mtu ajui chenye anafanya, huyu mtu ni mjinga, hajasoma, sijui nini. When it comes to teachers and doctors, wakinyimwa mshahara, unaona wako on the streets, wana riot, tunataka haki yetu, tunataka haki yetu. But what about these people? Hao watu ndio wanafinyiliwa sana, hao watu wanapigwa, hata wanakufa, lakini haki yao iko wapi? Haki yao watu wa chini iko wapi? Kwa nyumba zetu lazima watoto wetu wafuliwe, lazima wafanyiwe hizo vitu zote. Una make sure nyumba yako ni safi. Ukikuja there's a very strict lady, akikuja tu anaangalia tu hivi, lakini unaangalia kazi yako imefanywa, lakini the well-being of this person unaangalia. Huyu mtu akiwa mgonjwa unaangalia, huyu mtu akiwa anataka off ama anataka kitu fulani unaangalia, ama wewe what you are interested in is just your work, kazi yako ifanyike, but you don't want to know huyu mtu maisha yake, watoto wake. So unapata ukitembea kwa njia hivi, unafanyanga kazi mahali pale, unasikia huyo ni mbocha anapita. Yani mbocha amefanyikana kwamba is like ako outcast. Yani some of these people are so educated. It's just that they are looking for finances, maybe to start a business or to do something to further their studies. But why? What is the government doing? What is the Ministry of Labor doing concerning these people? House helps, house boys, domestic workers, this shamba boy. What is the government doing?
So one asks the question then, and Dr. Swali, so in that space that you're talking about, domestic workers, yes, do you feel like the finance bill as well in its recommendations when it comes, you're taxed, I think, if you're being paid a salary, you're supposed to be taxed, I think. So do you feel like the finance bill in one way or the other is addressing the plight that you're raising today? And if not, then what would be the solution that you're offering or your suggestion to the Minister of Labor and the Parliament to address the issues that you raise?
Yeah, thank you. I think the issues that I'm raising are not addressed by the government or the Minister of Labor. But what I want just to advise is that if this person is sick, please give her or him some time or some days to go and get treated and then come back to kwa kazi. Huyu mtu hata saa ile inafaa kuwe na health insurance ambayo the boss is supposed to cater for that, kwa sababu you want your chores, your house to be clean, and this person akikufa, wewe unataka, ama akiwa mgonjwa, wewe unataka tu ufanye nini? Utasema huyo si ni mgonjwa. Kuna bosses wanakuja, ukiambia boss wewe ni mgonjwa, anafanya hivi, either you pack and leave or you go and start working. So what am I saying? I'm just saying I'm here and I have so many ideas that I can just give the people concerned about this. Let us stand for these people as we normally stand for the teachers and for the doctors. Let us stand for these people. To some, for example, huyu mtu ajalipwa, huyu mtu amepigwa. How does this person anapata aje haki yake? This person ambaye amepigwa, ambaye anafanya kazi pale, amekuwa mgonjwa, amekuwa injured kwa kazi yako pale mahali, atakuwa aje? Kwa sababu me, for example, I'm championing for their rights, but I'm helpless. I can't do anything because I'm against the people who has money. I saw some boss harassing the house lady, the house girl, but I didn't address that issue because I was afraid this person has money and she will tell me about she will tell me this and this and this. So what am I saying? I'm just saying Ministry of Labor, wacheni tusimame kama kwa hao wasichana wa nyumba, wacheni tusimame kwa hao watu wadogo. The way we normally stand for the teachers and for the doctors. The house help also are supposed to get their rights. Sasa ile wanakuwa wananyanyaswa. Wacha wao pia wasikizwe. Wacha wao pia waongezwe mshahara. Wacha wao pia waonekane kama ni watu. Usione tu hii kazi ya nyumba kwamba kwa sababu hii kazi ya nyumba, like my friend, my learned friend there, she's so pretty, and akikuja kwa nyumba anataka akuja apate nyumba iko safi. What about you are beating me, you are not even paying me, and you want me to do your house to be clean?
Okay. Yeah, let's listen to him, and then we can get it back to Ndu and crew. Just give him the microphone.
James, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
With your indulgence, I think that's a moving case. And to be honest, and to be fair to her, house helps also pay taxes.
Yes.
Some of our house helps are day scholars, meaning that they rent houses. So with the tax on rent, they're also feeling the pinch, and their salary is has not been increased. Some of our house helps, just like ourselves, probably wear second-hand clothes, and there's a tax on the same, so they're also feeling the pinch. I'm just helping her to answer the question on taxation.
Yeah.
Just like us, they're also feeling the pinch on the increase on mobile payments, because that tax, that slap on mobile payments and transaction services will also affect them negatively and adversely. And just like us, the increase in the taxation on electronics would also increase the cost of phones, and they have to buy phones. So to be honest and to be fair to our sister here, they deserve better.
Yes.
I do not know if our domestic workers have a union. And if they have a union, I do not know if that union is part of KOTU. And if it is part of KOTU, Bwana Francis Atwoli, you have a missed call here. If they are not part of any trade union, there needs to be efforts to probably unionize them. And I think FIDA also has a missed call here. The Federation of, I don't remember the last, whatever.
Female lawyers and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have a missed call here in that probably we've neglected this for far too long. And they need to take up these cases and offer pro bono services, legal services to our domestic workers. This problem transcends this country. Our domestic workers, hata huko nje, abroad, are also suffering the same way. They are abused by their foreign bosses. They are denied their salaries. Hata chakula wananyimwa. They are beaten. We've seen the cases. This is not a secluded case. So we need to do something about it. So this is a challenge we are posing to the government, to the Ministry for Labor, and to the CS for cooperatives. Bwana Weekly for Paranya, weka hawa watu kwa cooperative. Tafutia hawa watu union. Angalia maslahi ya hawa watu. I don't know if time allows me. I have some few points here regarding taxes. Sasa nitoke kwa mambo ya dada yetu. Then I get to some few solutions hapa. Then probably hand over the mic.
Let's go.
Real quick.
So she mentioned about zero-based budgeting. That was part of something I wanted to discuss. I'm glad the government is moving in swiftly on that and zeroing in on the same. But I also think that this government needs to plug in on our leakages. For example, nikiuliza leo, hizi fines zinapigangwa kotini kama sisi watu wa maandamano tumepigwa fine tukachoka. 3,000, 2,000, 4,000. What's the total sum? Hizi koti ziko Kenya zimekusanya fine ya pesa ngapi? Because if we do not have an account on the same, then we are leaking. This money is leaking out. This is a leaking tap. Kuna koti fulani iko hapa City Hall. I am not trying in any way to bastardize this court. Zile fines zinapiganwa hapo karibu kila siku ni mingi sana.
Every day.
Mingi sana. Za watu wa bodaboda. My friends, by then nimekuwa mtu wa bodaboda for almost 5 years. Nikiwa campus. Zinapigwa watu wa matatu. Zinapigwa hawkers. Na watu wengine wa petty offenses. Hizi fines zinakuaga pesa ngapi? In the end, kwa hizi koti zote Kenya. Then tuingie kwa polisi. Bwana si mmechukua 50 bob siku mingi. Si hata sasa basi tuanze kupiga hesabu ya 50 bob. Albert Ojwang was killed for this, by the way. He took time to collect and gather evidence on the bribery in the police service. He documented this. And he was just about to share this to the whole country when they got to him. This case is very well known to the top bosses. I'm sure the Inspector General is aware of this. And I'm very sure, Bwana Eliud Langat, by the way, you must go. I'm very sure he understands this case quite fully well. na hii kesi wakapeleka OCS wa Central wanakula Maharago industrial area sahi. They just picked a small junior officer na wakamwekelea hii kesi. But we are blanketing the fact that our police officers have taken far too much and they don't account for the same. Siasa easy tax, easy wacha tuziite black tax. Hizi tax sasa ikuwe fine, sasa iweko kwa receipt. Bwana slap me with a receipt. Niende nilipe ama nikose kulipa nifungwe. Like it works in other countries. Ukinipata na makosa usinitishe 50 bob. Nilipishe hata 500, nilipishe 200, nilipishe 500. Iweko kwa receipt. Kama sina saa nitalipa baadaye. Ikimaliza wiki sijalipa, mimi nashikwa koto.
But it remains on your record, for example. Right.
Yes. Easy fines tuni pesa mingi sana tunapoteza. By the way, I think we are collecting over 500 million shillings per day kwa hizi 50 bob. Mimi naweza kumentionia hotspots hapa Nairobi penye hatuwezi pita kama hiyo 50 bob itatoka. Eri tukaa hapo 1 hour hadi hiyo 50 bob itoke. Na itokagi M-Pesa, inatokaga cash. Our police officers are cunning. Hawezi chukua pesa M-Pesa ati ndio sasa umtafute registered under Margaret Ndu it has to be cash. Can we plug that leakage? Moving on swiftly, I think we also need to preach water and take water. The government preaches austerity measures, then goes on to over budget on hospitality and entertainment. The president is hosting several caucuses and several groups, Palace State House almost every other day. And he spends 100 million and every time he hosts people hapo kwa State House. Kwani exactly State House upata pesa ngapi? No wonder they keep asking for supplementary budgets. The other day, the learned professor Kithure Kindiki was asking for a supplementary budget ndio sasa apate pesa ya chopa to crisscross the country kwa sababu wameshindwa kutengeneza barabara na hakuna bridge. So if we preach austerity measures, basi isikuwe ni wananchi wanafunga mshipi nyinyi mnafungua, tufunge sisi wote. As for article 223, I think we've misused this article far too much. Hapa ndio penye ofisi ya deputy president inaamua spend pesa without asking for authorization from parliament, alafu itauliza authorization baadaye. Hii ni kama kusema we are not seeking consensus with parliament before we spend this money. We are spending alafu kesi baadaye. Mtadu kama vile Aden Duale alituuliza sisi wakulima wa huko Kitui, but I am from Kitui. Tutalisha kwa hizo shamba zenu hizi ngamia zetu, na kwanza ngamia zote ziko Kenya ni zetu. Mtadu. This is an exact replica of what this government is giving us. It's showing us the middle finger. As I wind up, I also think we need to invest on textiles. There's a good president by the name Thomas Sankara. May his spirit live long. A good man by all standards. Alisema kuanzia leo kila mtu hapa Burkina Faso, I think that's the same country Traore is, yeah. Yes. So I think the apple has not fallen far away from the tree. Thomas Sankara gave a government directive that every government official, now everyone who is working for government, has to wear tunics made from that country. Mambo ya kuimport sijui Gucci, sijui Italy design suits, sijui Turkey suits iliisha with this government. Na yeye mwenyewe akakuwa a living example of wearing what we make. The same way Uhuru Kenyatta was trying with Rivertex. So I think we need to get back to that. Same with Mobutu Sese Seko. Well, this is the good part about him, where he probably gave a directive for the same. Na Kenneth Kaunda with the Kaunda suits zenye Ruto anapenda sahi. Yes, and as I wind up, I think we also invest more on our industrial parks. I think we need to have an industrial park in every country and probably further on the dream of Raila Odinga of having one product per county. And I also think we need to revive our cotton ginneries and process our own cotton, and probably that way we'll be able to make our own textiles. And as I wind up, kabisa sasa. Kabisa sasa. I think we need to do something about our engineering and our STEM courses. Hii narusha challenge kwa Ministry of Cooperatives. Bwana Wycliffe Oparanya, please come up with a cooperative for our engineers. Fund them. Ensure wamepata pesa. Because we cannot have foreign engineers doing our own contractual jobs hapa Kenya. Our own engineers do not have the infrastructure and they do not have the capacity to do most of the tenders that are floated in Kenya. Pesa ya barabara hawana. Pesa ya bridge hawana. They have the expertise, but pesa ndio hakuna. Weka watu kwa cooperative na wape pesa ya kufanya hizi project. Unless China imewapea kickback ndio sababu mnapeleka project zote China. Engineers wetu mnajua hata wakiwa na hiyo pesa hawatawapea hongo kufanya project in their own country. But we need to see that happening in our lifetime. Hii engineering imekuwa sitaki kusema useless course, but imekuwa course ingine ni kama ni bure, because they do not have the capacity, they do not have the teeth, they do not have the infrastructure, they do not have the funding, they do not have the financing capacity. Na wakienda bank wanazungushwa because they are not unionized and they do not have a cooperative. So kupewa loan ya almost 500 million shillings ama 200 billion shilling kufanya project in Kenya inakuwa at all order. We need to get these people into a cooperative, or tufanyie our very own project. Mimi sitaki kuona wa China huku, kwanza hawa watu ni prisoners ndio wanajenga Israel.
I think that's a good place to end, and I think as we talk about that as well, Ndu, it will be remembered that the country owes the suppliers, that would be engineers and others who supplied close to 1 trillion Kenya shillings. So if that money was released, we would see more engineers do these jobs. We would see more businesses continue to spar. So as we just discussed about that, now Wananchi have spoken. They have their own suggestion. We hear as far as being included into welfare, there are issues to be addressed. These are issues that Wananchi want to see addressed. But one would ask the question then, Ruth, do we have political goodwill and a listening government that is listening to what the people are saying?
I think maybe you will judge that based on what I will say, and that is what has happened previously. And I think in the last financial year, we saw that around 200 billion is going to be actually was set aside for pending bills. Nothing has ever come in terms of how much that has been done, because I think the push of accountability has to come from the common mwananchi, otherwise the government doesn't volunteer that a lot. And even if 200 billion is paid, it's still a tip in the iceberg, because in 1 trillion, in a sector that I think is where our good friend behind there said, they're just still looking whether you're still breathing, because it really doesn't make sense if government is not paying its people and is still expecting more from its people. And that is the biggest disconnect that I see in the budgeting processes, because we are using our traditional way of doing things in an already overhauled economy and people. So I think we cannot continue with the status quo. There has to be a disruption at some point. But the main problem right now, especially this particular year, there's going to be even a bigger push politically, because the politics is going to distort the whole goodwill of the budgeting process, because if then they don't do what they say they are not going to do, it's going to push all that into a political stance. And I think that is what the government needs to manage. And this particular year, I think they should go and pay the pending bills. Let people be paid, because they had gone as far as back as 10 years last year, so that means it's already 11 years.
There was an entire committee that was put together to verify the authenticity of these bills. They sat, they looked at these things one by one. They were paid to sit, to look at the authenticity of these bills. And that was in October last year. We are coming into 6 months after the thing, and we don't know if the authenticity of some of these bills has been verified. But one would reckon that it's enough time for them to have done their job, because what you do with pending bills is that you unlock money that goes back into the economy. People are not going to take the money that they're paid and put it under their mattress. People are going to take this money and they're going to invest it. They are going to buy property. They're going to pay loans. They're going to pay fees. They are going to buy food. They are going to do so many things with it. So it only makes sense to me that you're looking for ways in which you can unlock finances. First of all, you pay the people that you owe if you can, and we know from some of the things that we have said here that you can. So what precludes this then from happening? And the things that we're talking about are small things that come together into big things that could actually sort the problem. The KIPES that we're talking about, they've been set up on paper. That means it was a good enough idea for somebody to sit around and come up with it and put it down on paper. But then the implementation metrics then become so difficult for anybody to figure out. And these are the questions that we ask why. Because budget after budget, which is what pioneers this conversation, will come. But the implementation is the problem. We had the PS in the Ministry of Agriculture who sat here and told us about yet another G2G agreement between Kenya and the UAE to move meat products. But what is the implementation metrics to ensure that farmers in different parts of the country are preparing their animals and livestock for this process? To date, we have not heard about successful batch movement from Kenya to the UAE. And we know that the UAE is consuming this meat. They need more. They've basically said, we will buy, give it to us. But on this end, to implement it is a problem. Makueni governor set up a plant because they said these mangoes that they grow and these oranges they grow, we don't know what to do with them. They set up a factory to sort out pulp and juice. Every county should have a product that it moves. Cotton, you might wonder, the slave trade was set up to deal with cotton issues in what is now continental USA. Guess what? They still harvest cotton till today, but they have industrialized. What's happening with molasses in Kisumu? What's happening with cashew nuts in Kwale? And I beg your pardon, in Kilifi? What is happening with the mangrove, by the way? You would be surprised. The products that come from the branches of the mangrove, whereby you don't destroy the forest, but you can deal with I could go on, and all of these things are directly linked to the budgets that we make today. What is the problem? It's not a revenue problem. Is it a priority issue? Because Kenyans have said, this is where you should spend the money. The folks who are riding the border, who have entered into a system whereby it's not just taking you from place to place, but is actually delivering product that I can sit here today and that my business can run when I'm sitting here, because there's a system whereby I can talk to my guy, send this there, and the business continues. The people in the sector are telling you, do we have to spend so much money on spare parts, whereby the thing can be manufactured in Kenya? And it can happen.
Sure.
Our brother has said it can happen here.
Can we buy electric motorbikes when there is blackout? We are struck.
Can you deal with the electricity issue? Can you deal with the water issue? Some of the best honey in this country comes from Baringo. Who is dealing with making sure that that product is actually maximized and dealing with what you're going to then be able to pay farmers? It seems as though the solutions are right here, and it goes beyond people sitting in an air-conditioned office at Treasury crunching the numbers. This is the real stuff now.
I think there is a whole issues on integration of even the ministries. And one of the things that I've seen is that this thing that we normally say connection to the ground is something that we really take very lightly. The solutions are with the people. Like now you've mentioned the issue of pending bill. Do you know it's not last year, it was last year, but one.
Right. The October
it's 24.
Can you see?
It was the other year.
Yep.
So you can see how time flies and things have still not moved. So with that in mind, and time being the biggest resource, that's the main problem we are having, that we cannot have still people sit in government offices and talk about solutions that cannot be implemented. Are the solutions that common people are bringing on board implementable? Actually, I can call them low-lying fruits. They can even be converted as soon as tomorrow. But is a goodwill there? Because let me give you an example. Right now, there's a focus of low-cost housing. Look at how every town that is sprouting, because there's goodwill for that. And every county, and I apparently normally find that we normally focus a lot on the national government, and sometimes counties feel like they don't have any kind of accountability that they have over the people, and the disconnection of that also makes it even very problematic, because like the main low-lying fruits, counties can be able to convert, but there's no goodwill. There's no goodwill in that. Whenever pending bill, for example, a section has not been paid, let me tell you, it kills innovation, and a whole kind of a generation is wiped out or is pushed out of business. So innovation is not continuous. So in this country, we have businesses and continuity, something we call going concern in businesses, not there, because if you're not paid your money for a period of time, then you go out of business. Then that innovation dies with you. Then other people now starting from afresh. So how can we be able to balance the innovation, which is a key resource in this country? And that is one of the things that we are lacking, because as we push resource out, a whole sector, a whole economy, a whole industry dies. And people also, what happens is people develop cold feet to even get to that manufacturing because they know, you went out of business and you went to depression, and the people in that sector are known. I will not venture into that. And that is how we are killing our sectors one by one. The whole thing about clothing and cotton, people are even looking at that cotton T-shirts out here and they can't find them. Why? Because the goodwill is not there. But when the goodwill is there, and goodwill is not in the big things, goodwill is in the small, implementable things that can be done over a short period of time, not even the long debt kind of things that we're looking at. Short term, 6 months, 1 year, we convert and we move forward. The debt committee is an example that we are already in the second year.
Yeah, I think I'll just, you really want to say something. Say it real quick and then we can go back and just wrap it up.
Yes, I wanted to say.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.